Merry Christmas from Demeech!
It's been almost a year since the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC dropped. Despite my disappointment when it was revealed, and the underwhelming borderline bad first wave, things were seemingly taking a different turn starting with the second wave. It was a noticeable improvement from Wave 1, but it still left a lot to be desired, and with the race being at the halfway mark, we got the long-awaited Wave 3. Just like with Wave 2, I'll be using the unofficial Super Mario rating system. So on a scale of Cloud to Superstar, how is Wave 3? Mario Kart will occasionally reference other Mario spin-offs, usually along the lines of stuff like Luigi's Mansion. So imagine the utter state of shock I was in when I found out the first track is based on the underrated gem Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. They literally made a track based on the central location from that game. All jokes aside, I'm well aware London is a real city, and this ain't London, Ontario either.
Hi guys, before I start this video, I just like to say, please show your support for the United States and the London 2012 Olympics that are taking place right now in Canada.
This is another city track for Mario Kart Tour. Considering I primarily got the DLC for the tour tracks, it's good to see them in a console game. In fact, I hope all the tour tracks are preserved here, but if I'm being honest, London Loop is good, but it doesn't stand out as much as the other city tracks. By no means is it bad, the track layout is good, and visually, it actually looks significantly better than some of the other city tracks like Sydney Sprint. The textures are far more detailed, and even though the buildings maintain a geometric structure, there's a much better attention to detail, bringing it closer to in line with the base tracks. Other than it not standing out much, the layout can be somewhat confusing the first times you play it, but after I played it a few times, I had no issues. Overall, not bad, but nothing amazing either. What else can you expect from a track based on the Galar region?
Yahoo!
When it comes to retro tracks, the ones I find to have the most potential are the ones from Mario Kart Super Circuit. Super Circuit as a game hasn't aged particularly well, but the tracks have some excellent ideas in theming. Tracks like Ribbon Road, Cheeseland, and Sunset Wilds instantly come to mind. And considering how great Snowland is, my expectations were high for Wave 3's Boo Lake, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint. One of the things that I noticed about the track is that it ditches the usual colorful blocks from the Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance tracks. They work for something like Snowland, but it wouldn't be a good fit for a spooky track, and the attention to detail here is excellent. One of the coolest parts about the track is that you can see Luigi's Mansion in the background, and not only that, there's also the addition of an underwater section. And not only is it underwater, but it also includes anti-gravity. Considering Wave 1 didn't include any anti-gravity, and Wave 2 only included it in Sky High Sunday, it seems the criticisms towards the presentation and lack of anti-gravity are being addressed here. It is a shorter track, and I'm not sure why Nintendo went for Boo Lake for Wave 3 instead of Wave 2. Then we could have had Snowland to match up with the season, but none of that will change that this is an excellent track with a gorgeous presentation and a great layout. The presentation of the Wave 3 tracks has so far been excellent. Visually, they look nearly on par with the base tracks, and they have some excellent remixed music, but it wouldn't be a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC wave without a track that is questionable. Rock Mountain immediately stood out for not standing out. Considering that Choco Mountain and Calamari Desert have some pretty solid textures, I don't know why they couldn't have been applied to Rock Mountain, because it looks straight out of Mario Kart Tour, which it is by the way, but from a design standpoint, Rock Mountain rocks. There are wind gusts allowing for some really fun gliding sections, and guess what? There's even anti-gravity. It is a bit tacked on considering it's near the end of the track and it doesn't do much, but other than the track visually being unimpressive, it's still a good track.
Yahoo!
Demeech? What are we doing in Canada again? Don't you remember what happened last time?
Don't you remember that Mountie Miles let us go after we did a retrospective of newer Super Mario Bros. DS? You know, invalid!
Oh yeah, you're right. Are we in Maple Treeway?
We sure are in Maple Treeway. Maple Treeway is one of the most iconic tracks in the Mario Kart series, and while it's been remade for 7 and Tour, the remake here is nothing short of incredible. Visually, it's beautiful, and the music remix sounds excellent. It uses harmonicas and violins, and just sounds like something you'd hear during the autumn, but the thing that surprised me the most is the return of half pipes from Mario Kart Wii. They are in Tour, but I was not expecting to see them here. They act as a mini anti-gravity section, but function just like they did in Wii, and they're a blast to jump off.
Maple Treeway is considered to be one of the best and most memorable tracks in the entire Mario Kart series, and the remake here managed to make an amazing track even better. There was a bit of concern after Coconut Mall, but if the quality remains that of Maple Treeway, Koopa Cape is going to be great. If you're Tricky Nick or Demeech, this track is going to be well worth a superstar out of Superstar.
The Rock Cup exceeded my expectations, even with the questionable Rock Mountain. We could just end things off here and say it's an improvement. Dare I say the classic, it's a step in the right direction. Obviously Nintendo is an incredibly small developer, only capable of making steps in the right direction. But is there a chance that they can go all the way and reach their destination? Let's zoom all the way to the Moon Cup. Just like the Rock Cup, the Moon Cup starts off with the city track being Berlin Byways. Like I stated before, I want all the tour tracks to be in the game, but I would have gone for something like a sunset or night track like Bangkok Rush or Vancouver Velocity, because London Loop and Berlin Byways are both city tracks that take place during the day, and they feel a bit too similar, but I found Berlin Byways to be a much better track. The layout I found to be far more interesting, and there's a lot more variety. Rather than just the typical buildings and buses, there are also landmarks such as the elephants at the Berlin Zoo gate. But what caught me off guard are the Whomps. Thwomps have been a staple of Mario Kart, but I believe this is the first time Whomps have been an obstacle as well. But they can also act as a ramp you can trick off, and just like London Loop, the presentation is improved to fit in line with the bass tracks. The music is also remixed, and it sounds great, but I do prefer the original a bit more. The layout did take a few rounds to get used to, but it's overall a great track and easily the best city track so far. This one's for you, Julian. There's a lot of nostalgia for Peach Gardens, but I never understood all the hype. It was a pretty standard track in DS and Wii, with some fun shortcuts, but it wasn't one I found to be too memorable. But the remake here actually managed to feel like a new track in some aspects. The final lap actually has you race through Peach Gardens in reverse, and it even incorporates a gliding section, which allows you to see the beautiful topiaries of Mario characters. The track is absolutely gorgeous, and the presentation is the real highlight here, but the track itself has a good layout and a fun new twist, making it the definitive Peach Gardens. Perhaps the water park equivalent would be Yoshi's Adventure Island, and if you get that reference, you're an OG. As someone who loves Christmas and as someone who loves video games, finding Christmas-themed games or levels is about as hard to find as an NES Classic or Hatchimal during the Christmas 2016 season. I'm always on the lookout for Christmas-themed games and levels, and it turns out I've been a nice boy this year, because good old Santa Claus just dropped Merry Mountain down the chimney. This is a track from Mario Kart Tour, and it's the first track in Tour that wasn't based on a city. It was a huge surprise seeing it when it debuted 2 years ago, and I'm jollier than ever seeing it here. The track is phenomenal. The design is stellar. There are many different segments, even including some anti-gravity and half-pipes. The music is great, and the theming, perfection. The road itself has a red and green tint, and the track is loaded with Christmas-themed things. Things like a Christmas market, Christmas candles, candy canes, presents, and even a Christmas train in the background. The only improvement I would have made is including some ramps or obstacles in the downhill segment, but for a track this merry, I think it's deserving of a rating beyond a superstar. Our final track couldn't be a more fitting one. To wrap things up, we have Rainbow Road, but not just any Rainbow Road. We have Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road. This is my favorite rendition of Rainbow Road in the mainline series. I say mainline because Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix has my favorite Rainbow Road, but Mario Kart 7's comes very, very close, and I'm happy to say that the remake here is nothing short of incredible. Visually, it sort of feels like a more natural Rainbow Road, if that makes sense. The other 3 Rainbow Roads in the game are clearly Rainbow Roads, but they definitely feel more like roads. Here, it actually feels like you're racing on an actual rainbow, but that's not the only part of the track. You'll also be racing on the moon, and there's even anti-gravity, and it's definitely noticeable. If you played Lunar Colony in the battle mode, it's very similar here. While I wish the track was a bit longer, this is easily the best Rainbow Road in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and one of the best tracks in the game. That covers it for the tracks, but Wave 3 also included a brand new feature I don't think any of us saw coming. There has been discussion about removing the blue shell from Mario Kart, and with the Super Horn, that discussion became less prominent over the years. But finally, not only can you get rid of the blue shell, but can fully customize which items appear. That means you can finally get rid of the useless coin item that has infuriated Mario Kart players for nearly a decade. I like to go above and beyond and get rid of the coin and the blooper, but when it comes to customization, anything is fair game. Anything? Yes, anything. That means an all blue shell round can actually be a thing. Something like all blue shells is going to be absolute chaos, even if you're used to Mario Kart Wii. But surprisingly, there is actually a strategy to win, and it's actually playable. This isn't a way I'd typically play Mario Kart, definitely more of a novelty, but the addition of custom items is nothing but a good thing. Not only can you turn off useless items, but this actually allows for new ways to play. I am a bit surprised we haven't had an option like this until now, but it's nice to finally have it. And no, that didn't make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe unfinished for not having it. I saw a few on the Bluebird Circus claiming people are claiming Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is unfinished for not having custom items since day one. No, nobody is saying that. You just want the Thunder Clout. When the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC started back in March, I assumed the quality of future waves would be no different than Wave 1, but to my absolute surprise, it seems we're finally at a point where the DLC is mostly in line with the base game. Not only do the tracks visually look excellent, but they also include new sections and incorporate anti-gravity, but more importantly, they're just overall better design, and you can easily tell the developers were having fun. While I do think a proper Mario Kart 9 would have been ideal, things are finally looking up, but considering we got item customization, I do wonder, is there more in store for 8 Deluxe? I'm hoping that some new characters are added to the game, considering that the roster in 8 Deluxe is still a problem. I've talked to modders and they've said that porting characters from Tour to 8 Deluxe is actually very easy to do, and I'd love to see Tour's roster in 8 Deluxe. Additionally, I would absolutely love to see some tracks from Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix, but considering the track selection has been data mined, it seems that Nintendo once again is unaware of the arcade games, but as it stands, things are finally looking up, and I can say for certain that Wave 3 avoided naughty and gets the ranking of nice. Not accounting for community posts or more casual discussions, this has been the first video I've posted in quite some time. I've just been completely slammed with college work over the past few weeks, and the good news is, I've finally graduated, meaning I can now play as Luigi. I'm definitely planning on pursuing higher education because those other 120 power stars need to be collected, but most likely I'll be doing so in fall of 2023. I've really wanted to embrace a channel, and considering I haven't been able to output videos as often as I would like, I've had a lot of plans, especially for the next year, being 2023. Currently, we have a discussion with Uncle Al about the Donkey Kong series coming up, so that is going to be very fun. I will also be doing Trash or Treasure Pokemon Scarlet and Violet very soon, which it is by far the biggest retrospective on the channel. I have a lot to say about the game, and I think a lot of it will actually surprise you, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Likely, there will be even more videos throughout the remainder of the year. But before we wrap things up, I'd just like to thank each and every one of you for the support, because even though video output hasn't been as strong as I'd like, I'm so grateful for all your support and for you guys sticking around. From Mario Kart Origins to Demeech the movie, oversimplified logos, unfinished games, and where we are today, thank you for everything.